Studio check.
Frequencies check.
We are live on air.
You are listening to the It Factor, blessing the airwaves. Take the journey into the world of sports, news, entertainment, while embracing the hottest beats on the planet. Rocking the mind, body, and soul. With energy, electricity, and a splash of controversy. Now, without further ado, it's our pleasure to bring to you
The biggest show in the world.
The biggest show in the world.
the biggest show in the world, the SBTV Nation.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Happy Monday after Christmas. This is the 26th of December. We are here. We are live. We are getting ready for a whole week of college football. You are listening to the defending champion of fantasy football, yours truly, the Mad Hatter. And I got my boy who got smashed, the Dream, on the other line. What's up?
Oh, it's like that? Okay. I finally have decided, there was some rhetoric back and forth about fantasy and as to whether it was gambling or not. And one of the big things was they said that there was no skill involved in fantasy football. And now, after seeing what happened this weekend on Saturday, I happen to concur with that 100%.
Right.
As Hat and Dan won both leagues, there definitely has to be a lack of skill in fantasy football.
Well, where were you placed? You were placed number 7, Dream. Number 7. So you were like middle of the pack. So
Okay, and I was middle of the pack. I think, I do want to point out in one of the leagues, I lost 2 players to injury. In the other league, I lost at least 1 player. David Carr went down in the middle of my day. That kind of screwed things up. Hey, I know how it works in fantasy football. It's like how it works in pro football. You get an injury, you got some serious issues moving forward, which I had. Hey, congratulations to you guys. Nice job on the... I noticed it was both of you had the Green Bay Packer tandem with Jordy Nelson and Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, definitely. And that, just between the two of them alone, it was like 80 points, Dream.
I know. And big shout-outs to Jonesy, because I know Jonesy wanted to talk about the Minnesota Vikings defense being dope, and I don't.
Oh, my God, exactly. And another big standout for me was Doug Baldwin for the Seattle Seahawks in a losing effort.
Doug Baldwin had a good game in a losing effort. Seattle Seahawks, I said it on the day of, if I did a quarter of what I talk about on the show, guys, I can't tell you how difficult it is. It's almost like, and I know a lot of you gamblers who've been gambling for a long time notice, the more information you have sometimes is like, it's more damning to you when it comes to gambling than anything else, because you get on this show, I do the homework prior to the show and obviously have some idea what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And, talk about it. If I did and followed my own lead a quarter of the time for the majority of this season of what I've said on this program, money would be crazy right now.
Money would be crazy, Dream. Well, you know what? The Green Bay Packers, that was a unanimous pick by the 3 of us on Saturday. And it worked out pretty well. And I got to be honest with you, man. I absolutely loved the whole Saturday of football, the NBA, NFL combination yesterday, and now we got college football all week long. That's great.
Well, the college football today is bothering me. And not to move there, but just talking about the scheduling. And I told you, I was the biggest fan of the football being on Saturday. I get on the NFL about a lot of stuff because the NFL does have a lot of things wrong with it. However, we got to take our hats off and give them a round of applause for moving things from Sunday to Saturday, as that was absolutely a stellar idea. And I don't know if I don't know the means behind it, because I have heard rumblings that the owners did not want to pay Christmas bonuses or pay holiday overtime.
Yeah, oh, really?
I've heard some rumblings like that. I don't know how true that is, and that's an awful reason if that's why it went down. Because Christmas Day, you obviously would have to pay double. Have to pay a little bit more than you have to pay regular. But I still think the Christmas Eve scheduling, as far as I'm concerned, and that, to me, forget all that. Even if that was the case, at least you let people be home to get home to their families on Christmas Day, which is where I think most people want to be anyway.
Yep.
So great job by the NFL.
Oh, definitely, man. And I heard yesterday, and yeah, this is actually true, Dream. Next year, Christmas Eve falls on a Sunday.
Yes.
So we're going to have the same exact situation next year. So that's kind of badass.
That is good.
Yeah, so we're going to have that. And you know what? I was enjoying it. I was doing a little shopping and watching a little bit of football and all that. And Dream, you know what? Your boy called the Miami Dolphins as a 10-win team.
Oh.
And we got it. We got it. So talk to me, because you were hitting me up about Fat Rex with about 2 minutes left in that game. And the Miami Dolphins emerge yet again, win 9 out of 10 games, brother.
Let's get them out of here. Let's get the Ryan brothers out of here. Both of them. Let's get them out of here. Let's get them out of football. Get them into the booth right next to Herm Edwards. Talk about how all teams could be better, how they could make them better, even though they made the teams they were on worse. Listen, Dan said that the Jets would be happy to have Rex Ryan back. Maybe they would. Maybe they wouldn't. I don't know. I don't necessarily know that that's the answer for them at all. I got to get rid of him in Buffalo. I'm sorry. I do. And I, you know, at the beginning of the season when they fired the offensive coordinator but left Rob Ryan on the team, dude, if that's not the biggest example of nepotism, I don't know what is. How do you fire the offensive coordinator, but you leave your brother who's the defensive coordinator? And that defense has been trash most of this season. It's been a lot overrated. They have showed up in certain spots, but in my opinion, that defense, Rob Ryan needs to go, and Rex Ryan needs to go as well.
Yeah, I agree with you. And you know what? That's 8 games now in Buffalo where the total has gone over, Dream.
That was a great call by you calling the over in that game. I didn't really see the over happening. I didn't get involved in the game, as I talked about it being just an ugly matchup as far as I was concerned. But great call by you in the over.
Thank you very much. And you know what? I got to just go back to, you know, move forward to Christmas Day, what went down yesterday. And a couple of amazing games between the NFL and the NBA. Dream. That NBA game, I hate to move around a little bit, but I am going to. Golden State and Cleveland had to be one of the best games that I've seen in the NBA in a long time, outside of playoff basketball.
Golden State and Cleveland was a good game. My issue, though, is, and I have a lot to talk about since you went there, I'm glad you opened up, because there is some rhetoric about this Golden State team. You go in the offseason and you go and get the likes of Kevin Durant, and you appear like you're stacking this team for greatness. You cannot lose to Cleveland in that game yesterday.
Steph Curry just didn't have it yesterday. That was the problem.
You cannot lose. And I'm glad you brought up Steph Curry's name, because I am going to tell you guys that Steph Curry, to me, since last year's playoffs situation, has not been the same.
I agree. They take him right out of the game, and I actually had him on a fantasy team yesterday, and he had halfway decent numbers, but nothing what he's accustomed to.
Has not been the same. This team moving forward, there are some issues. I have to look directly at that coaching staff and at Steve Kerr, and I don't know how you get now, because here's the issue with mega superstars. Coaching them.
Yeah, right.
Now you got to get these guys that already think they're dope, think that they know everything there is about basketball, think that they, got it all together and that they're great, and you got to get them to listen to you, and you have to coach them. And that right there is a serious issue moving forward for Steve Kerr. I don't know how he's going to command these guys and move forward from this point. I hope, he obviously has the pedigree. He comes from a championship team and has played with the greatest basketball player that has played the game to date, as far as I'm concerned. But I don't know if that's enough on his title to really get these guys to buy in. He's already came out and commented that Steph Curry could have made better decisions on the shot. So he's already getting in there behind about that shot selection that you and I talked about 2 years ago.
Right on.
They skated through 2 years ago when they won the championship with that bad shot selection, and they got through it, which kind of was, a double-edged sword when you think about it, because now you're telling them not to, but they're like, but we won a championship doing this.
Yeah, right. Exactly. And it's hard to shy away from that, especially when you're so accustomed to doing that time in, time out. And, I mean, in the West, they usually mop the floor with teams. Considered, I mean, Dream, they've won 27 games this year, so they're not that bad.
But they're not. But we know that, they're 27 games. It's a smoke and mirrors trick, because when you look at the competition that they played, that's not who we're talking about. And this team was built to beat the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Right on.
This team was built to. And my thing is this regular season game right here, when Kevin Durant came on board and when they opened up practice for the season, this game should have been circled as, we want to win this game. We want to make a statement. We want to let this team know that come playoff time, we will be ready for them. And they absolutely did not do that yesterday.
Well, they had a lot of leads in the game, though, Dream.
A lot of leads, and that's an issue because LeBron and them were still able to do their regular, take some breaks, and still come back and beat you.
And you know what? Another thing I got to mention is the maturity of what's his face there, Kyrie. Kyrie was absolutely outstanding yesterday, Dream.
No doubt. Definitely outstanding. Listen, I am so impressed by this Cavaliers team now.
I know.
I mean, 2 years ago, I thought the team was okay. Mm-hmm. Even last year, I didn't think that I talked about them, however, throughout the regular season, that if they could get to the playoffs, that they would be a problem in the playoffs, and they possibly were the team that could beat Golden State. I talked about that a lot last year, regular season. Of course, when it got to that series, I still sided with Golden State, because I just felt Golden State just was, as far as their ability to run the floor was going to be too much for them. But after beating Golden State last year, and now seeing what they're able to do this year, watching LeBron in the offseason really get his guys to gel around him.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? There is now the camaraderie with this team. There is that, brotherly love that's going on. There's that fun element. There's that, we're in this together. It's us against them. They've got the full package right now. They're going to be a problem to beat.
Right on. And you know what, Dream? I was watching the first game with the Knicks and Celtics, and it's just minor leagues compared to the Cavs.
Oh,
I mean, you watch these teams, you watch the teams like the Bulls and stuff like that, even the Toronto Raptors, and it's just like, it's just such minor leagues compared to what you got with the Cleveland Cavs. So you've almost got that Chicago Bulls with MJ kind of thing going on there, Dream.
Got a nice separation right now with Cleveland, and I can't, like I said, LeBron James. And I've always liked LeBron James as an athlete, as a person. I love his off the court, for the most part, stuff. The only thing that LeBron James ever did that I didn't like, the two things he did, I didn't like the way he moved from Cleveland to Miami, and I didn't like him leaving Miami to go back to Cleveland. That's my only issues with him. But that's not about him as a person. It's more about just the situations of these teams or these cities had their trust in you and you left them under these circumstances. Now, I know you came back to Cleveland to right what was wrong, but that's beside the point. I'm just going to move away from that. However, as an athlete, as a person, as a competitor, love what he brings to the table. He rarely loses his cool out on the floor, even when he gets hard fouled. Just always keeps himself as the consummate professional out there. And I do take my hats off to him. And I'm a believer in his Cleveland Cavs team. I really am.
Yeah, definitely. And even he had that little bit of, I don't want to call it animosity, but a little bit of stuff between him and Kevin Love. I don't see that anymore. I
don't see it anymore either. I don't see any animosity at all with him and any of the guys. I just see him, like I said, whatever he did in this offseason, whatever they decided that they were going to get together as a group and just have some fun as young guys, it worked. Going to those games together and hanging out and all that has definitely worked because this team does play as a unit. That being said, I'm going to flip back to the West for a minute and say, I don't believe that I don't know. And Golden State's got a lot of growing to do before I'm willing to say that Golden State could really beat this Cavs team in a 7-game series. However, I am going to once again go in this direction with the West. Popovich and that Spurs team, dude. Mm-hmm. To me, they would pose the biggest threat out of the West to the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Outside, yeah, you got total experience there. You got Pop, you got the whole package going on, and defensively, they're a very, very good team.
I think that they'd be more of an issue for the Cavs than Golden State.
Really?
I
Interesting, Dream. Very interesting on that, guys. Dream, you cut out for 1 second, so we'll be right back with you.
No, I'm right here.
Okay. All right.
I'm just saying, Golden State, with their lack of defense, their lack of rebounding, offensive and defensive, it just is such an Achilles heel. And when you get into playoff basketball, when it really gets slowed down.
Oh, yeah, big time.
It's a problem.
Yeah, big time, because you run out of gas.
It's a problem.
Exactly. And you know what? Speaking of the Spurs, Dream, you got to admit, they got a pretty raw deal yesterday, considering the fact that once the Cleveland Cavs and Warriors game was over, everybody and their mother flipped over to the NFL game.
Oh, no doubt. Well, what were you going to do? You're not going to beat the NFL. Pop doesn't care about that. The people in San Antonio, though, were there, doing what they have to do and representing their team well. I don't think that they at all cared about that. So
I didn't even give that game a look when Pittsburgh was on.
Well, I gave it a look, but it wasn't no need to, because I know that the Bulls are dusty.
Yes, sir.
That all came to fruition yesterday.
Of course it did. They are, man. I don't know. It's tough.
I told you that, boy. I don't know what happened to them.
It's minor leagues compared to the Cavs, and I just like the fact that you've got these superstar teams now in the NBA. So it makes it. Yesterday's game had to bring in some big ratings, as far as that's concerned, for the NBA.
There's still a lot. There's still a lot of season left in the NBA, and some things can happen. Injuries. Kyrie Irving is not the healthiest player in the NBA, some things can happen over the course of the season. Kevin Love too. That will change the Cleveland Browns situation. But right now, the Cleveland Browns are definitely the team to beat.
Cleveland Browns.
Excuse me, Cleveland.
God damn, man.
Yeah, the Cleveland Browns, because they got to win now on Saturday. So they're the team to beat right now.
They are the team to beat. Hottest team in the NFL right now.
Hottest team in the NFL is the Cleveland Browns behind Isaiah Crowell's incredible performance with 2 touchdowns. Beat the Rivers.
What do you think about that? San Diego is bad. Bad team. Obviously, they're decimated with injuries, Stream, but to lose to the Browns, that is the one team you do not want to lose to in the NFL.
The Browns.
Crazy.
San Diego and Rivers, I don't know what you do. I know you're alluding to them getting rid of him. He's going nowhere.
Yeah, I understand that.
I don't think Rivers is going anywhere, and especially when you look at the quarterback situation right now in the NFL, who are you going to replace him with?
Oh, God. I have no clue, man.
And gang, there are major issues going on in the NFL as GMs, owners, and coaches are seriously scrambling, and especially in Oakland, Alameda, Cali, Coliseum.
Right on.
Oakland Raiders, with the loss of Derek Carr on Saturday, season could be a wrap.
And you know what? It just kind of paves the way even more for the New England Patriots because, Dream, when you look at the rest of the AFC, Kansas City looked kind of impressive last night.
I am not. I can't. No, I'm not. Kansas City doesn't do it for me.
They don't do it for you at all.
Offensively, Kansas City just does not do it for me. I don't expect the Patriots to have the same kind of offensive issues that the Denver Broncos had. Trevor Siemian, I do not know what happened over the course of the year, but he and Wentz. I know Wentz not so as much, but it just seemed to get worse. I don't know if because teams saw the film and found out what's wrong with them and what they were doing, but both of these guys, as the season went on, seemed to get worse and not better. Simeon opened up looking really great at the beginning of the season and just went completely downhill from there, and I just don't expect the New England Patriots to have that kind of issue offensively versus Kansas City, and Kansas City just cannot put up enough offense, in my opinion, to really threaten the New England Patriots. There's only one team in the AFC now that I think can threaten the New England Patriots, but I'm definitely concerned about their defense, and I am concerned about their offense that sometimes looks incredible and sometimes does not look well, and that is Pittsburgh Steelers.
What about the Miami Dolphins, Dream?
Yeah, I am not worried about the Miami Dolphins at all.
Why not?
Pat?
They are the hottest team in football.
Oh, my God. Okay, they're hotter than the Patriots.
They've won 9 out of 10 games, brother.
How many other Patriots won, Matt?
Yeah, you're probably very similar. Very similar, but hey.
Patriots not high, Hat. Only lost 2 games.
The last team you want to face is an inter-division matchup in the playoffs because they know you all too well. And you know what? Here's the deal. New England Patriots still have something to play for this week.
That is how dope the Patriots are, that they're 13-2 and they're not considered as hot.
You're absolutely right about that.
The hottest team right now, honestly, as far as everybody's concerned, has to be, and even me, Green Bay Packers.
9-6 team. Yeah, I guess, winners of
just when
4
you
or
talk
5
about
straight,
hot, we're going with the most momentum. Right now, to me, they have the most momentum. Patriots, the reason why you don't consider them hot is because they just go out and win, and they've won every week. So it's like they're just used to that. But as far as a team that looked like they were out of it, losing, and now are starting to peak and look really good, especially offensively, the Green Bay Packers, to me, are the team with the most momentum right now.
Right on. I'm looking at the AFC playoffs, and it is set. The 6 teams are in. Everybody else is eliminated. New England Patriots, the Raiders, the Dolphins, the Steelers, the Chiefs, and the Texans, Dream.
Yes.
And that was an ugly game, that Texans and Bengals game the other night.
Oh, my God, was it awful.
That was dreadful.
Oh, I love it that
watch.
Dion was calling for them to put the Big Brock back in the game. I was dying at the halftime. Dion was talking about it. He said to Brock, don't pack your stuff up yet. You might be getting back in the game.
You might be getting a couple of snaps in that particular game, Dream. So
Savage came in the second half. They did a couple of things different, moved it around a little bit for him. We forget that the Cincinnati Bengals do have a good defense.
Yeah, I know.
They have a good defense, and they showed that their defense was pretty good in that particular matchup. And they, but Houston was able to get it done. And Houston, once again, this looks a lot like last year with most of this, with the AFC playoff situation to me, with the exception that Denver's not there. But it reminds me a lot of last year, except Denver's not there, and now the Patriots really look poised to go to the Super Bowl.
Right on. And the way it's shaken out here is you got in the NFC, you got the Dallas Cowboys, who have the number 1 seed. The road to the Super Bowl goes through Jerry's World. And then you got the Atlanta Falcons, who are vying for that number 2 seed, Dream. So they, too, with another win, can have a first-round bye and then a home playoff game.
And don't sleep on it. Atlanta, I know. I'm with you. I've seen them over the season and over the years, and I know what you're saying with Atlanta. But I got to tell you, I have a whole different feeling about this Atlanta team this year and watching them and the way they execute on offense. And their defense has slightly picked up the pace a little bit in the last few weeks, which opened up as a bad defense. Their defense has appeared to grow and start to play that little bit much better. Sure. So, I think this is a different Atlanta Falcons team. And I kind of believe in this team this year.
Yeah, no doubt, Dream. They are pretty good. I mean, they went into Carolina and wiped the floor with them.
You know how I feel about Carolina.
Yeah, man. I did not see that coming. I thought Carolina could possibly pull off the upset there.
I'm so glad we done with Killer Cam. Killer Cam, go find yourself in the offseason. Take a trip to Tibet. Go see some Buddhist monks. Clean your attitude, your spirit, your inner soul. Come back next year, revive with your mouth shut. Be the consummate professional and move forward. That's my advice to Cam Newton.
And with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers loss, that puts the New York Football Giants in the playoffs, Dream.
Yeah, that's awesome. Awesome for the Giants that another team's loss is how they get into the playoffs.
Packing their way in.
That's something to beat your chest about.
And this is an interesting situation. And we'll talk about this later on when we get into Monday Night Football. But do you realize that Cowboys have absolutely zero to play for?
I do.
And to be honest with you, the Detroit Lions, this is a meaningless game as well because next week, win and you're in. That's it. And you win and you get into the playoffs by winning the division. So very interesting how this is all shaken out right now, guys, as far as the NFL is concerned. And you know what? And there's a couple teams on the outside looking in the NFC that need a lot of help, and that is the Washington Redskins and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Dream.
Well, the Redskins, that's their fault.
Yep.
They had an opportunity to beat Carolina on Monday night, which they didn't capitalize on, so right. I do not feel bad for them at all. Tampa Bay, you go out, you lost to Breezy.
Yep.
and your defense let you down, and Jameis didn't show up in big spots when he needed to, you got no one to blame but yourselves.
One of the hottest trends on Twitter right now is fins up. Miami Dolphins dream.
Okay, listen, hey, I'll tell you what. Who do they play opening week? Do we know?
Oh,
First round of the playoffs?
It's going to be either the Steelers or the Texans.
So I'll be right there if it's the Steelers, but not the Texans. I'll be right there ready to wager with you.
They'll beat the Texans.
Okay.
Texans do have the best defense in the NFL, but I think they'll win that game.
I know, and I watched the Texans again, and you know what? Dion said it as well in the booth. He says, I know this is the number one defense, but I need to watch them because I just don't see it. And I don't either, though, Hat. I know that they got a good defense. Oh, come on, Cincinnati, Cincinnati isn't dope, but when LaFell caught the ball on that booty slant play and ended up running into the end zone and not know Texan player could catch him because it was like a 50-yard run after the catch.
Yep.
I'm like, why? How is this defense that incredible? Where's the speed at? And they didn't. The Texans' defense didn't look as stifling to me, as inept as Cincinnati's offense looked, as far as I was concerned that game. So I don't know. I'm struggling with the Texans' defense being that good.
Correct. Absolutely. And
I think they're good, but just not number one.
Well, you know what, Dream? It's time to move on. And George Michael passed away yesterday.
I was just getting ready to do that. I meant to do that earlier in the show. R.I.P. to George Michaels. Growing up in the 80s, guys, George Michaels, Madonna, Michael Jackson, like three of the biggest. I mean, there's tons of big stars as well, but you just remember them. They were all part of that MTV, and, it's just a sad loss. He had some disturbing stuff going on, I would say, over the last 8 years or so, which I don't know about, but whatever. You know what I'm saying? Great dude, great musical contributions were awesome. I always had a thing for George Michael, and not like that, so don't even get it started. Go pop it, but what? I just always, he was a pretty guy.
Yeah, well, you know what, Dream? You did symbolize his
You know what?
Loop earrings.
know you were going to go with something.
Dream used to rock the loop earring.
Don't do it, Hat. Please
go get the loop earring back in your ear, brother. Come on. Get the George Michael loop going. Come on, brother. I know you're dying to put that on New Year's Eve.
Oh, my boy. He loves taking pot shots.
I think you're going to bring it back for New Year's Eve when you're out there dancing, Dream, and lip singing to Wham. All right, guys, so let's move on here. Let's have a conversation about a bunch of different things, and let's just talk about the fantasy football contest with SBTV Nation. We will be doing it again this weekend. Winner take all. I think we're going to pump it up to 20 players now.
Okay.
All right, so that's what we're going to do, and you got to knock me off because I am the defending champion of the world.
Oh, boy.
As far as the fantasy football contest is concerned, Dream. And nothing is better than wiping the floor with you, to be honest with you. I kicked your ass.
I didn't wipe the floor with me. It wasn't our teams up against each other personally.
Took care of the
about a week before, it was crickets when I beat you and Dan, when I placed higher than you and Dan. And now this week, both of you been very vocal about your wins. I'm loving. So Twitter, you guys Twitter cappers?
Capperish.
Are you so capperish? Twitter capperish. Blowing me up when you won, and I didn't hear nothing out of neither one of you last week when I placed higher than you. Was quiet as all hell. Oh, with beginner's luck, Dr. Dan said.
Well, Dan won the 10-man contest, so that makes him probably like the U.S. champion or the
Intercontinental.
Like yeah. I am the world champion of
fantasy. You got, and your belts and your championship and your belts are as equivalent to the ones in wrestling.
Yeah, right. Well, you know what? Speaking of wrestling, Dream, I bought my kid and myself 4th row tickets to the Royal Rumble in Texas.
Oh, dope.
Yeah, man. So we're going to be flying out there, just him and I, a little bit of a, boys' night out, boys' weekend. So I'm looking forward to kind of just being by ourselves and doing that for the whole weekend.
Dope, dude.
Yeah,
That's
man.
Absolutely phenomenal, man.
4th row on the corner, right where the entrance is. And I think it's going to be badass because we're going to be right up close. Front row, we're like 3 times as much.
Yeah.
So, you know what? It got 4th row. So, I think it's still a very expensive ticket, but pretty happy to bring my son to do that.
Nice. That is very, very nice.
Yep. Bought my bride a cruise.
Oh.
Going to be going on a cruise with my bride. Yeah, Western Caribbean cruise dream, 7 nights. So, I thought that was pretty cool. How'd you make out with Christmas with the little guys?
Little guys did okay. I guess I bought a little bit of stuff that was probably too mature for the 5-year-old, but the 9-year-old, he's got his back, so they're going to be good. I mean, dude, it was toys for days, and it looked like Toys R Us upstairs in the living room when they unpacked. So it went great for them. My daughter, she made out well. Everything's good for her. So, hey, it was a great day. I had a good time. I just enjoyed, taking care of them. And it was just, it was a festive time for me.
Fantastic, brother. So what do you want to do, brother? You want to get into the college bowls and then talk a little Monday Night Football after that?
Yeah, let's go right into college bowls, gang. I want to start off by saying that, first of all, you got, an 11 o'clock start on one of these games already. I don't know about the college bowl schedule for today. I know they probably didn't want to go against the NFL on Saturday, but my whole thing is, you're probably going to get the exact amount of people to watch today as you would have got going against the NFL on Saturday. So I don't know. Maybe people took the week off from work because I know kids are out of school. So maybe they're thinking it like that. I don't like the schedule. Do you?
It's tough to say. I mean, I'd probably rather stack them on Saturday maybe.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I would have rather put these games on Saturday.
Yeah, because, you got 3 games here, but there's games all week long.
Sure.
And, when you look at it here, we've got 3. And like you said, there's an 11 o'clock start. You got Miami of Ohio, who is 6-6 versus 5-7 Mississippi State. Damn, Dream, they must have really struggled to put this game together, huh? 5-7?
That's what I'm trying to say. You know what? This is the reason why people hate the college bowl season sometimes, because you get some of these schools that just get in just because of kind of who they are.
Yeah, right. Right, exactly. They must have been struggling to fill the bowls with a 7-loss team.
I don't think they were struggling to fill the bowls. They just were struggling not to hook up their boy. You know what I mean? You called me up and say, hey, you got to get us in a bowl. And you were like, all right, I'll get you in a bowl. Which one you want to be in? Yeah,
right, exactly. So you got Mississippi State minus 14.5 with an under-over of 58 points. And, obviously a dominant SEC here. But, Dream, you know what I saw over the weekend, too, yesterday? Was the SEC Yule log.
Okay.
Did you see that?
I did not.
The Yule log, you know what the Yule log is, right?
Yeah.
The burning log on TV?
Sure.
Well, they had all the college bands playing in the background, and they had, football helmets all around the fire and stuff like that. My kid and I were hysterical watching it.
How was it?
It was dope.
Okay.
It was cool. We actually left it on for a half hour while we were opening gifts.
Wow.
The SEC Yule log. So looking at it here, obviously Mississippi State, Nick Fitzgerald is their standout leading passer, leading rusher, and they're playing in St. Petersburg, Florida today, Tropicana Field. Mississippi State, like I said, minus 14.5, under over a 58. Guys, I have no interest in betting this game whatsoever. I think Mississippi State is clearly the far superior team, but I don't know. They've been brutal this year. And they've been brutal, though, Dream, because they've played some very difficult teams.
Very difficult teams.
And when you compare to the schedule, it's the strength of schedule. It's clearly leagues above.
Clearly leagues above, which is why I clearly like Mississippi State, and which is why they're clearly given 15 points.
Yeah, right. Exactly. But
I like Mississippi State, and I like them in a drubbing. I think this is going to be, I'm not going to go total annihilation like Dr. Dan, but I think this is going to be a pretty decisive win. Mississippi State have athletes looking to go into the professional ranks. I expect them to play, and I expect them to try to execute effectively. I also think that, guys are trying to make their positions for next season that they want to start, they want to play, and you're trying to impress the coaching staff. Mississippi State's last performance in beating Ole Miss in the fashion that they beat Ole Miss in, 55-20 at Ole Miss, stupidly impressive. So I absolutely see no reason why Miami, Ohio is going to have any success against this Mississippi State team. I expect them to really dominate this performance, and Mississippi State hasn't really seen the likes of, Miami, Ohio hasn't really seen the likes of Mississippi State.
Right on. And offensively, they're 106th in all of collegiate football, only averaging 361 yards of offense total, with a 6-6 record, Dream. So, I know Mississippi State gives up a lot of yards, but when you play an offense like that, obviously you're probably going to win the line of scrimmage up and down the field here if you're Mississippi State. I would not be surprised if they, like you said, won big here, but I'm not getting involved in it.
No, I'm not either. I mean, oh no, well, I don't know. I may get involved in this.
Not for me.
Okay.
But anyway.
I may get involved in this. If I do, though, guys, I'll probably throw 7 on it and get it under a touchdown.
All right, sounds good. Maryland Terps versus Boston College. Both teams are 6-6. Boston College bringing in an incredible offense, only scoring 19 points a game, Dream. Give it up 24.6. Looking at it here, Maryland is 1-5 straight up in the last 6 when playing Boston College. Boston College definitely turned it around a little bit this year, but still a 6-6 team, but did make a bowl. You know what? Both of these teams have taken some lumps this year, Dream.
Yep.
But I just don't have any business betting on this game either.
Agreed.
All right, so we're going to move on here, and let's talk about the other game on the ticket, which is, and sorry, guys, just these games are nasty. NC State versus Vandy, Dream.
NC State versus Vandy. And you guys know I don't like Vandy. I talked about them being a bad team for most of this season. That being said, end of the season, defense actually showed up at the end of the season and was a little bit formidable. I'm still not a believer.
Still not a believer.
Still not a believer. I like NC State to win this game.
Yeah, and NC State has had some pretty impressive games. They should have beat Clemson. You know that already. They lost at Louisville, got smoked.
Scott Weaver just fell off his chair.
Exactly. But what bothers me is that they lost to Boston College before.
Sure.
So, I mean, looking at this game, they closed it out at North Carolina and won that game, which surprised the hell out of me. With the time off and all that, I think NC State still wins, though.
I think NC State wins, but I'm glad you mentioned the time off because that's an important factor, especially for an offense like NC State. And not as much of a factor, I believe, for Vanderbilt because Vanderbilt does not run any type of complicated type of offense. They're a defensively sound team, mostly, live off of their defense and turnovers that they can create and, that play that field position type of game. So that being said, I expect Vanderbilt to probably start off a little bit more effective than NC State. As the game goes on, NC State will probably settle in. Hopefully, they're not down by a lot because if they are, then it's going to be a problem. But I do see NC State pulling this game out. I see this game being rather tight, not a blowout by any chance. This should be a competitive game. It'll probably be a pretty good game to watch, believe it or not. If you're around at 5 o'clock and you got nothing going on, this won't be a bad game to watch. I would not lay the points. I think you need to get this in a money line or in a teaser situation. You might want to tease NC State with Mississippi State.
My concern with NC State and the reason why they lost the Clemson game is their kicking game, Dream.
Yeah, I know.
They've got one of the worst field goal percentages in all of collegiate football, man. 52.82%. So half the time, they're missing their field goals. That sucks.
That does.
Brutal. So, you know what? That's something to keep in mind, guys. You know what? You could have a chip shot and lose in this game. So keep that in your brain. You know what? I may get them plus point stream.
Okay.
Do a teaser and get them plus like 3.5. And I might be okay with that.
This is one of those. I don't think you could go wrong if you tease either way.
Okay.
Because if you get, Vanderbilt's getting 6. So if you throw the teaser on that too, having Vanderbilt plus 2 touchdowns, that might work as well.
It may work. So do you have any other college football before we move into Monday Night Football?
Nope, that'd be it.
All right, man. Let's get right into it, guys. We are going to get into the NFL as we have everybody's greatest team that ever lived. Is playing tonight in Jerry's World, facing the Detroit Lions. And when you look at this here, I believe the Cowboys are a 6.5 point favorite with an under over a 45. Dream, the $1 million question.
Yes.
Do you see the likes of Tony Romo at the helm tonight?
I hope so, because that's the absolutely smartest thing that the Dallas Cowboys can do.
I agree.
Okay? This worked out so much in their favor. And Dallas fans, don't be obtuse, okay? You're playing for nothing.
Zero.
Let Romo get in to get him real-time NFL snaps. In fact, as far as I'm concerned, Romo might be my starting quarterback in the next 2 games.
I love
tonight
that.
And
I think that's a great idea.
It's absolutely a great idea, because now you get him real-time snaps in real-time NFL situations so that you can look to him if you have to in the playoffs. And you sit down with both guys and you explain that to both your guys. Now, one thing I hope that Dallas does, though, is you do sit down and you explain this, because don't just have Dak on, hey, we're putting Romo in, and don't say nothing to him. You know what I mean? Which I know that they didn't do. I'm almost positive. I don't think that they would do that. But, put Romo in and say we're going to get – this is an opportunity to get him some snaps, get him ready for the playoffs. Some guys want Dak to start the game and then Romo to come in at the half or whatever. If you want to do it like that, I don't have a problem with that either. Mm-hmm. But get Romo in the game.
I agree with you. I like him starting.
I like him starting too. But, that might – these professional athletes are fragile psyches, okay? Mm-hmm. Sometimes you have to stroke these guys and, make them feel comfortable, make them feel like your kid's upstairs, and just say, hey, listen, we want to let Romo play a little bit, so we don't want you to, need to get your blankie and feel like you're going to get your ball and run off.
I don't know, Dream. I don't know if that would be the case.
I don't think it would, but sometimes, how these guys act, dude. These guys get funky with situations. So, and Dak's a young guy, so I just say, like I said, as long as you explain everything up front to them, I think it should be fine. I think it should be a great transition. I think Romo should start tonight's game and let him play.
Mm-hmm. Right.
You absolutely get him reps and you get him ready for the playoffs. Now, the other question on the flip side is, what do the Detroit Lions do? What are they? They're not playing for anything, like you said.
No, not at all. I mean, I think you still got to come out and win this game, though. I'm going to tell you why.
Okay.
Because you still got Tampa Bay and Washington still in the hunt here. So if they lose their next 2 games, being the Detroit Lions,
right,
there's a chance they could be missing the playoffs altogether. And I feel like they have to win. If they win this game and lose the next game, there's a possibility that I'm still being the 6th seed in the playoffs. So I think they need to come out and give max effort and win this game, Dream. The thing is that normally I would just go with the Dallas. I would bet against the Dallas Cowboys because they have absolutely nothing to play for whatsoever, like literally nothing to play for, guys. The only thing they have basically is the probability of getting injured. So I would normally just take the Detroit Lions. The problem is that Tony Romo, you're going to get max effort out of him if he comes out as a second string.
Well, wait a minute. Let's talk about this for a second, because you're saying Detroit doesn't have anything to play for, but they're 9-5.
No, what I'm saying is they do have something to play for, because
okay,
if they win this game, there's still a really good chance. Lose next week, you're still in the playoffs. Lose this game, lose next week, there's a chance you might be on the outside looking in.
Right, but when we opened up, you said that they didn't have anything to play for, but they're still.
Yeah, I looked at it. I looked at it after I made that comment. So I'm going to backtrack that comment.
Okay.
And say that there's still a chance that they could be on the outside looking in if they lose 2 games in a row.
So Detroit, as far as I'm concerned, gang, Detroit has every reason in the world to win this game right now.
You would think.
Yeah, they have a lot more motivation than Dallas Cowboys have. That does not mean that's going to happen.
Right.
Because we've seen the New York Giants able to clinch a playoff spot.
Mm-hmm.
Not. We've seen teams in this situation 100 times just not go out there and do it. So I'm not going to just solely go on that with this particular game. I don't like it because I can't read it.
A lot of intangibles.
But I can't read it. And you know what? Here's the deal. We're almost at the playoffs. The big college bowl games are ahead of us. No real need to get into the financial situation right now with this particular game that we can't read. Don't know whether Dak's going to play. Don't know whether Romo's going to play. Then, aside from that, Who else is going to play? Do they sit Ezekiel Elliott after a couple of snaps? Do they sit? They should probably sit Dez, because we want to keep him healthy, obviously. So there's all those question marks. I do think that Detroit has more of a reason to want to win this game than Dallas Cowboys do. Not worth betting on.
I agree with you. Because, when you look at it, like you said, I mean, sit Ezekiel Elliott, sit Dez Bryant, especially this week, with all the injuries that have gone down.
After seeing those injuries that went down, definitely.
Yeah. Could you imagine because you and I both know this, and every Dallas Cowboy fan is probably going to not agree with us because you're a homer, but Ezekiel Elliott goes down, your team is in major trouble.
Everybody's a homer. You know what? I think I'm the only guy that's not a homer. I don't know why. I don't understand. You guys that are gamblers, I don't understand how you're homers. You're a homer too, so I don't want to hear it. You are a homer. Dan's a homer with that damn Giant team. You're a homer with the Dolphins because I don't understand you guys. To me, as a gambler and being a fan, I felt me being a 49ers fan helped me to understand that they stink.
Well, you know what, Dream? I have not really been wagering much on the Miami Dolphins.
Because you're a homer.
Yeah, right.
But you should know when to bet for or against your team if you are a real fan of them.
I called their loss in Baltimore.
Okay.
That was the one because, every time they go to Baltimore, they lose.
Yes.
But you know what? They've been winning ever since. So,
and I struggle with that. I've talked to a lot of guys on Twitter, and I see you guys out there on Twitter, and that bothers me because, like I said, as a gambler, you should be able to see past, hey, these Dallas Cowboy fans. If you don't know that, one, your defense is not that good. I don't care what you say. Two, your offense lives off of the offensive line and the running game in Ezekiel Elliott. And if you have to depend on Dak Prescott to throw the ball down the field, there are going to be some problems. And three, you're not that good because you lost to the New York Giants twice and you struggled with the Minnesota Vikings, who stink. That's all I'm saying. So stop it. I mean, those are just the reality of the situation. I didn't make that up. I didn't just make that thing up. I just did. That's real talk, what I just gave you.
Right on, Dream.
That's why, you're going in and you're very successful this season, better than you've been in the past, and I think you're a pretty good team. But trying to act like you're invincible going into this playoffs and you're just going to run through everybody, okay, well, we'll see.
Yeah, especially if a team like Green Bay comes in.
No kidding.
Or Green Bay or like
Atlanta is a problem too, Hat.
I guess, yeah.
And Atlanta's played very well on the road this season. That's one thing I will give Atlanta. Atlanta's gone on the road and handled their business.
All right. Well, you know what, Dream? I don't have a side on this game. I think I'm going to just fall back from it, to be honest.
I don't have a side either. I'm going to fall back too. It's like you said, a lot of intangibles. You might want to get involved as you're watching the game and get an idea for it. Just hang out. You got some stuff on the horizon.
See if there's any Tony Romo props. Maybe we can dabble in that a little bit.
Dabble in the Romo props. Hey, let's get ready to get out of here.
Sir.
I know you got stuff to do. I got a little bit of a busy day as well myself. We're prepared for the New Year's, getting ready to get that celebration popping. Once again, rest in peace to George Michael. And I want to thank the guys that have retweeted the show. Mr. Terrence Mack, C. Rodriguez Jr., Louis Cypher, JC is out there. Impy Easy's in the house. Dr. Dizzle, what's going on? Good morning to you, Dr. Gannon. Congratulations on winning the contest. Probably your first win ever of Daily Fantasy. Marlon is out there.
Intercontinental champion.
Cast Action Bets, Wooch GG, Fast Eddie, Bang the Book, Derry Richard. Also want to give my co-host the hat big ups. Congratulations for winning. That's the first thing Hat's ever won.
You know what? I'm going to buy you a brand new George
That's
Michael.
Hat's first win since UConn won the national title.
I'm going to get you a brand new George
And
Michael earring for New Year's Eve, brother.
That's Hat's first win since UConn won the national title in hoop. And he got to be feeling himself.
Wait till I win next week when there's a 20-person league.
Gang, I'm the Dream. Always remember who you with. Make the most of each and every day, as you cannot get this time back. Be careful with the college football games if you're getting involved.
Yes, sir. We'll be back on Thursday, Dream, and ready to rock, and we will post the new contest for the SBTV Nation Fantasy Football. We'll be doing 20 people, so when we hit 20, the top 2 places will earn money. That's how it's going. Every 10 that we add, whether it's 20 being the top 2, 30 being the top 3, 40 being the top 4, we keep growing every day, and it's, hey, Dream, it's really cool.
It is really cool. I'm just glad that we waited till week 14 or 13 to get this popping. That's awesome timing on our part.
Exactly. Guys, we love you to death. Go out there. Go easy. Rise and grind. Tackle the world. And get that money. Let's go.